Good morning or good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about the project control panel, the one-stop shop. I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly so we can dive into Uninet. But essentially, where is the project control panel? You'll find it on your reports dashboard. It's in the project accounting report section, and it's in the summary reports box. Who might find it useful? Anyone who's responsible for evaluating project performance or funded values, budgets to actuals. Think of project managers, project controllers, finance executives, decision makers, so on. The individuals who are allowed to view the project control panel are your administrators. They can view everything, your project and resource administrators and your project admins. So we have an asterisk next to project admins for a reason, because it really depends on a property setting. I could show you when we dive into Uninet whether or not certain project admins would see this report without cost rate manager role. All right, what is it? It's the one-stop shop for project accounting information. So it's very revenue focused, right? So you won't see like project costs on it. It's really your revenue, your funded value, your bill dollar budgets, accounts receivable, so on. So what's great about it is it provides high level data with details at your fingertips. So with a few clicks, you can get to other various related reports and supporting detail for the values that you're seeing on the project control panel. And the thought is it's a report that you can start your day. Just a couple quick features, and we'll demo these in the system. But on the left-hand side, we have this hamburger icon, which gives you direct drill downs to various reports, project-related reports for whichever project you click on the hamburger for. And we also have a project profile drill down. So as with most everything, when we see blue text in the system, you can click on it. It's going to take you somewhere. So I'll show you what that does when we get in the system. And we have AR drill downs. So you can click on it and drill down to your AR schedule. All right. So that's it for the slides. Let's look in Uninet. So again, it's on your reports dashboard, summary section of the project accounting reports, and it's right here, the project control panel. So again, who can see this? By default, if you're admin, P&R admin, or you're a project administrator with a cost rate manager role, then you would have access to this report regardless. If you are a project administrator, and when I say that, I mean like project viewer, project approver, project manager, project lead, so on. It's really going to depend on whether this property is selected. So it's under admin properties, access and permissions, and it's going to be this allow project cost reporting for non-cost rate managers. So this role here, you can see when set to true, users having project-oriented roles can view the project accounting reports without needing the otherwise required cost rate manager role. So what that means is they can run cost reports, right? People who typically don't have visibility to individual cost rates, they can run cost reports, project accounting reports, and report on total cost in aggregate, but they won't be able to drill down to the detail, right? They won't be able to see that John Doe's cost rate is $20 per hour, or Jane Doe's cost rate is $40 per hour. But that said, people are smart. If you give them total cost and they know who's charging the project, they could potentially back into it. But that's something to be mindful of. All right, so let's take a look at the report. So I'll start out, just show you the report in all its glory. So I know you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to scroll out. So you can see there's a lot of columns. There's a lot of information that we can include on this report, and in this particular option, I selected to include everything. But if we zoom in here, if we go from left to right, we see it's a project org code, project org name, project code, project title, build type, your date range there, current period actuals, and what we see here, you can run it on posted data only, or you could also run it on unposted data. So you would see the values update in real time as people click save on their timesheet or save on their expense report. You would see those values reflected here. So we can run those actuals, current period, year to date, inception to date. Keep going to the right, we have budget, remaining budget value, funded value, remaining funded value, total value, and remaining total value, as well as your accounts receivable, and then some informational fields here like project status, project manager, lead, owning org, and owning org name. So one thing to note, so we can see this report does contain AR balance information. So, typically you would need some sort of AR viewer role to look at your accounts, AR aging schedule or amounts on your AR report, outstanding AR. So with this, it is worth noting users that don't have AR viewer roles, they will still see this AR balance, right? So if they're a project viewer and they can run this report, they can see what the current AR balance is. The key distinction is if they don't have one of those supplemental roles like AR viewer or AR user or AR poster, then they would not be able to utilize the drill down. So if I click on this, it's going to take me directly to the AR schedule, which ports 1.264, the 1.264 that we're seeing on this report. All right. So that's everything. Let me run a more narrow version here so we could talk through some of these fields. So these actual amounts, again, we can run these current period, year to date, or inception to date. So it's going to give us revenue. So if we're running this report on posted data only, then the amounts we see here in revenue should tie to our billing revenue summary. So this would be revenue as defined by the billing revenue summary or your project revenue and funding summary as well. So just to give you an example of the power of the hamburger icon and the drill down, this project 10.7011, we have 994,000 in revenue. So click on the hamburger, I can run my billing revenue summary, which takes me to this report, and we can see here's the total revenue that ties to what we're seeing. And, if I click an extra click, I can see all the details that make up that value. So with literally 2 clicks, I can go from total revenue posted to this project to all the details that make up that total revenue. All right, so that's revenue, write-offs and adjustments. So this is going to be, additional items, write-offs, funding or fee cap adjustments. Those would be the values you would see within this report. And then to move to the right, we have the bill amount. So this is a value that's somewhat unique to this report. So bill, we look down here in the small print. Usually when we see small print at the bottom of a report, it's usually important information. So what it says down here is for all projects of all billing types, values shown in bill columns are calculated as hours times bill rate for labor transactions and cost plus markup for expenses. So what that means is in this column, the values you're going to see, it doesn't matter what billing type it is, whether it's T&M, cost plus, fixed price, or even non-bill for that matter. It's going to take the person's hours that they charge to the project and multiply it times whatever their bill rate is with that project. So we know with non-bill projects, fixed price projects, when we assign people to a project, you have the ability to associate a bill rate, via that assignment, even though for fixed price and cost plus and non-bill, it doesn't really drive any revenues, right? You're not generating an invoice off of those values. It's just purely taking those hours, multiplying that bill rate. Potential uses for it could be for evaluation of your opportunity costs. So let's say, looking at this one, it's a fixed price project. we have 30,000 revenue, but based upon the hours charged for the project, multiplied by those standard bill rates that maybe we use those bill rates to build this $30,000 proposal. This variance here can be an indicator of how well we're doing compared to what we had originally proposed, or when comparing to the basis for our fixed price revenue there. So we keep moving to the right. So the budget, funded value, total values here. The amounts we're seeing, these are coming directly from the project profile. So this is a great segue to show you the project drill down. So I'm going to click on the project code. It's in blue text. It's going to open up a tab for me that takes me directly to the project profile. I can see the budget. So the value we're seeing, again, this is a revenue centered report. It's going to be, your bill dollar labor budget plus your bill dollar expense budget. So this 100,000 that we see here is where this value is coming from. Funded value, so this is going to come from our project profile counting tab. There's our funded value. In this case, our total value is empty, so that's why we're seeing 0 there. All right. So just to demo some of the reports, so we click on the hamburger icon here. I've already shown the billing revenue summary, right? We use that to tie out our inception to date revenues, assuming that we're running this report on posted data only. We can click on the cost summary and status report. This is one of the top reports in Uninet because it gives you the ability to combine actuals and plans, right? So when we take a look at the criteria, I'll show you how you can define what you want to see on this resulting output. But what's great is from the project control panel, with one click, boom, I could come here, I can see what my actuals are through a given date and see what my forecasted values are at completion here. All right, invoice status. So we click on this. It's going to take you to invoice status report. So you can see all the invoices that have been billed on this particular project. You can preview those invoices. You could also see, status of payments, assuming you have AR viewer roles to view this related data. We have org activity. So this is an underutilized report, but this is a way to see high-level organization information, right? If you have contacts, look at their contact information, email addresses, and so on. As we scroll down, we even have the ability to view like timesheet comments and dates of activity. So if you wanted to see when was the last time we touched a particular client, this is a great report to run to see when they were last touched, who touched them, and if there were any timesheet comments related to that touch. All right, and then project transactions. So this is a good report. So just to show you one way you could utilize this report is I want to see, okay, for this particular project, we have $450 in write-offs and adjustments. I want to know what that is. Why are we writing stuff off? So this is using current period, February 1st to February 28th. So I clicked on the drill down. It always runs at inception to date by default, but if I want to narrow it down to the current month, I'll just update the begin date. So this is the write-off column here. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see we have $450 in write-off. And if I want to find what that is exactly, here we go. Looks like we wrote off some entertainment expenses. So maybe somebody billed some alcohol or something that's entertainment that we didn't want to bill the client for, so we wrote it off. So with that, it's really just 3 or 4 clicks of the mouse, and I'm able to drill down and see what that 450 is. All right. So back to the criteria. I'll show you a couple things to note. So we have these sorting options. So I just ran a report. I was sorting by project, but we have some unique features here. Maybe I want to sort it by project manager. So if I check this option, rerun the report, and I forgot to check this box here, but so if you sort this, it's going to do it alphabetically by your project manager. If I check this box to group in subtotal, by sort option selected, I think it's going to give us a better layout so we can see, okay, here's Frank's projects. You know, here's totals for Frank's projects. Here's Darla's projects. Here's totals for Darla's projects. So if you're trying to evaluate, you know, project performance at the project manager level, this can be a useful way to run the report. The next thing, these column options. So when I showed the report to you in all its glory, I essentially selected all. So, I mean, it's going to be a very wide report, right? Scroll left and right. If you select all options, or you can narrow it down to what's important to you. We have the ability to filter. So in this case, I'm filtering for projects that have greater than $0 in the current period, where if I didn't want to filter, we can run it, and it's going to give us an output of all projects. We got a bunch of zeros here that meet the other criteria I've specified. And one thing to note, so these adjustments and include expense reports, you know, I can't click on these or grayed out. So if you're wondering why we can't do that, it's because I have this include posted data only selected. If I deselect that, it's going to open up these values for modification. And then as we get down here to the bottom, the cost summary and status report. So again, this is one of the top reports in Uninet that we looked at previously, where we can run actuals combined with forecasts. So whatever we designate here is what's going to drive how the reports run when we click on the drill down. All right, that's all I got. Any questions?